What up, yo? What up, peeps? I'm back. Got a Sapporo because it's a special occasion. We are gonna start reviewing the Alien franchise. This is a franchise I pretty much have watched since I was a kid. I watched along with Predator about the same time. And the first Alien is just so iconic. It is it is like the equivalent of what Halloween did for horror. I think Alien to an extent did for sci-fi. I know some would say Star Wars on a more mainstream scale, but for sci-fi horror, this film clearly, took a lot of tropes from slashers, and just this film gave us just all around great characters. This was directed by Ridley Scott. This was like a classic. This is one I would have loved to have seen in theaters if they replayed it. So, just ever since I was a kid, I watched this, and I remember being a little bit creeped out at the xenomorph and the whole thing, and just just realizing how good it was. Just well made, well acted. This movie gave us Ripley, and I'm reviewing Aliens tomorrow, so that's gonna be fun because both movies are fucking god tier movies, I would say. So, sorry about that. Well, I guess we can get started on the plot. I'll take a hit. So we, my opinion, have an awesome. We have the classic 20th Century Fox opening, and we just see the alien, intro, and then we see the Nostromo, and then we basically slowly get introduced to characters. Officer Kane, played by John Hurt, Ellen Ripley, Engineer Parker, Brett, Captain Dallas, and Lambert. They're basically space workers who um, just kind of. It starts off a little slow, a little bit of just slow dialogue of what they've been doing on the ship. So we get a signal, this strange signal, and just it starts off really like simple. You think it starts off like this really simple sci-fi kind of just movie in space. Oh, it's these people in space, and they listen to the signal. And Lambert, who's the robot, which we'll learn later, they approach the planet, and when they land, you have the iconic, that thing. So it's a very slow starting movie, and so they see a space. This is where we see the iconic spacecraft scene, and just that scene of all of them in like the astronaut suits, and just they see the remnants of an alien creature. So a little bit of like there's already like this whole world already has like a backstory. That's the one thing about new franchises I love. Especially if you can like already make it like there's already shit going on in this world, even if it's a brand new franchise, but there's more going on already. Yeah. So Kane goes down to investigate. We find one of the eggs. We see like kind of like the shot of the eggs, and Kane gets attacked by. This is where we're introduced to the our first shot of the 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 face huggers, which the face huggers are, my god, they're so creepy. And just the effects at the time, it should have been so crazy. So we see that Kane is taken back to the ship, and so they quarantine him. So they let them in, even if they should have. Like, this is where you have the other horror trope where it's not a good idea. Like, they probably shouldn't have let Kane come in. With him being infected. So, and this is where we see the iconic shot of the face hugger on his face. And just really good scene. It just. So we just see them. I think the creature dies. And they eventually try to cut the creature off Kane's face. They cut it, and then acid basically cuts out, and it runs through the ship. So we learn that this is where we first learned that their blood is acidic, which is awesome. Just that little detail. Then so Kane's in a coma. They resume their repairs. Everything seems fine. It's like, it starts, like I said, it kind of starts off very slow. Not a lot happens like the first hour or so, besides Kane getting the face hugger, which is fine. It's like Halloween. I would argue, yeah, Halloween '78 is kind of slow paced. There's not kills every scene. It's like this with this movie. This is where the whole less is more thing comes from. But also, the thing is, though, if you're gonna do that type of movie, you got to make sure you have strong characters, and I think this film does. And it's not just Ripley. I actually like I like Kane. I like Dallas from little bits we see of him. I like Lambert, even though he kind of does a heel turn in the end there. The black dude's a good character too. Like, I think all around they're good characters. Just it's like same thing with Jaws. You had strong human characters to follow. So Dallas is listening to music, and kind of everyone's just doing their own separate repairs. So the creature detaches itself from the facehugger. Basically, detaches itself from Kane. So basically, throughout the film, like, there's just little arguments about what they should do, and it's realistic too. Like, because what would you do? So they basically start arguing about what they're gonna do with Kane. And I think he comes in, and Kane, wakes up, and seemingly everything seems fine, and then he starts freaking out. And this is where we get the iconic chest burst buster scene, and oh my god, I can only imagine if you had watched this the first time in 1979, because no one knew what the fuck was gonna happen. It's like, yeah, Kane seems fine, and then all of a sudden he starts choking, he starts freaking out, and then the chest buster comes out. It's like, oh, it's such a good scene. And the funny thing is, apparently the Ridley Scott didn't tell the cast this, so the reaction of the cast was actually natural. I kind of wish studios would do that, because it is awesome to sometimes get just that natural reaction. So the creature scurries away, and just, oh my god, it's a phenomenal scene. It's one of the scenes that makes this movie, besides obviously the first time we actually see the Xenomorph fully grown, and the first time we see a facehugger, but this scene was so good. Everybody, got applause for that. So they start searching for the creature, have a quick funeral for Kane, and you feel bad for a lot of these people who die. they're not bad people. This isn't like a case where oh there's like bad humans with no. These are all good people. They're just people who are on a mission on a ship, and then this crazy shit starts happening. So they separate into two teams to find the creature. Um, so Parker goes with Ash to look. Brett and Ripley go off together. So this is where a strange creature. This is where we start. Jones, who's a cat, you see kind of throughout the film. Brett tries to follow. Brett tries to follow the cat, but this is when we see the first shot of the xenomorph, fully grown, or Big Chap is kind of it's been dubbed. The nickname of the creature's been dubbed in this, and it pretty much kills him. And then this is where we get the shot of the teeth, and then we get the shot of the tongue with the teeth. It's and Brett's mesmerized and then gets killed. So the creature kills Brett. Really good kill too. I think like decent effects. Ripley and Parker here, and they try see the creature, and we just see Brett dying. So that happens. The crew has to decide what their next move is, and the creature's using the shaft. That's like, so we get not one. It's like the first Predator where they kind of show you what the creature could do. You don't get a lot of backstory. It's not to like the sequel where we get more of like okay what the actual creatures are. So that's gonna be fun talking about that tomorrow. But it's just an awesome movie. It's paced well. It's not. I wouldn't call it boring. It's a bit of a slow burn in the beginning, but really once Kane gets the face hugger, the movie picks up pretty much. Like, and definitely once the chest buster comes out, it's over. The movie picks up. Just give me a second. I'm just gonna see how long I've been filming. Okay. Anyway, just checking how long I was filming. So they have to compliment. Blah. The crew has to figure out what the next move and try to figure out what they're gonna do with the creature. And then I'm just gonna kind of jump to where Lambert kind of turns, and he basically attacks Ripley and tries to, because this is where it is learned that that they got to keep the creature that he works for. I think this is where we get the name drop from the company. Ash, and I got the wrong name. I thought Lambert was the robot, so Ash was the robot. Ash attacks Ripley, and then they decapitate him. And this is where it's the reveal that he's an android, and that and they tell him the company, which they don't say the name, but it's very you can tell it's fucking Wayland. You can tell it's Wayland. That's probably like a little bit of a. They just call it the company, and this is where it's learned that he wanted to keep the creature alive. So that's why. They disconnect Ash, and they basically all have to find a way to kill the creature. Um, So the xenomorph kills Parker in the head, and this is where we see its tongue in action. So it just kind of shows you how powerful the creature is and what it does. It doesn't tell you fully what it is, which I think is fine in the first movie. Kind of let us know what it can do. It's the same thing with Predator in a way. Like Predator did the same thing where you see the sorry about the helicopter, where the Predator just kills, but you don't get like the whole history. Give me a second. Line this helicopter. Um, so So Lambert dies too. So the xenomorph kills Lambert. So she tries. Ripley goes to the. This is, I think, where we're starting to get in the scene where that iconic where it's just her in her shirt, and it's obviously hot because Sigourney Weaver is a beautiful woman, but that's not all what makes it. Just it's realistic, you know. So basically, it's Ripley by herself now. And that's kind of where I think I just love it. So it's basically a cat and mouse where Ripley's trying to run from the creature. And, basically we get the iconic scene where she sends the xenomorph into space. Just awesome final act with her, her trying to protect the cat and she's by herself and the creature's trying to get her. Just great shots, and then Ripley records a log, and then goes to hypersleep, and that's how the film ends. Awesome film, and I'm sorry it was a bit quick. It's just for me. I try not to. I try to talk about the big moments in movies, because if it's something, if it's mundane, I'll skip over it. But Alien is just an awesome film. Great characters. I like all of them. Even Ash, who was the robot who did a heel turn in the end, there was awesome. I just think all around great cast. I love that the universe is already, you could already tell, is already set up, even if it's a first movie. And this movie made the xenomorph a recognizable creature because up until that point, alien movies had been, aliens like UFO, humanoid, the gray like black eyes type of deal. That's all alien movies had been. Were kind of cheesy, UFO movies. So this was like something different where like, you know what, we're gonna make the alien more like a creature. And H.R. Geiger, he's known for a lot of the designs of the creatures. Gotta give him props for the nightmare imagery in this film. Just that shot, that whole ship scene. Just, and the scenes in space look good for a film that came out in 1979. More likely was probably filming in 78. It's crazy. It's just all around crazy how this film, and just, we didn't see a lot of the xenomorph, and we didn't have to, but also we still had strong enough characters to follow that it didn't make it like, okay, this film sucks, give me the creature. No, you had good human characters, and not just Ripley. I thought Dallas was a great character. Parker was good. I like Kane, and 6 people die in this film, so all great characters. But just the xenomorph design. I'll say this. I'm not, as much as I love this movie, I like the design, but my favorite xenomorph design is more the designs we see in Aliens. But that's fine. It's the first movie. For what they did, this movie was incredible. Had decent effects and all that. Incredible movie. Advise anybody to watch it, even if you're not a horror fan. Just watch it. It's not gory at all. You have strong characters. I would definitely invite, even if you're not a fan of horror, watch it. For me, this is the best of the franchise. As much as I love Aliens, I get it. Some people really love Aliens, so I understand that. But Alien 1, I love the more horror tone. I do. It just, for this movie, it fits perfectly. You know, Ripley was just a great character. You know, it definitely, I will say this, and when we get to Aliens, I will say I probably prefer Ripley and Aliens a bit more because of the stuff with Newt, which I will get to tomorrow. But it was awesome. The score was great. Um, it was just kind of just little. It had a little somber sounding, but it wasn't. It had like a space sound to it, but it also had a horror element to it, and just like I said, perfectly paced. It's a bit slow in the beginning, but once really the stuff with Dallas, I mean not Dallas, Kane happens with once that stuff goes, the film just starts picking up, and you're on the edge of your seat the whole time. So definitely, I would advise anybody watch Alien. If this is the only one you watch Alien, and I would say watch Aliens. If you don't want to watch any other one, you could watch the first one. In a way, you kind of can just watch the first one as a standalone if you don't want to get into the other ones. So, but overall, I love this franchise, and what this movie did was so good. Even if there were slasher movie elements into it. You got to remember this film was like a year after Halloween, so definitely they probably took some bits, not bits, but like that whole element from it. You know, the slow build, the tension, the music, and stuff like that. But I think that's fine. This movie did a good job with it. It was almost like Halloween in space. And that's fine. I don't fucking care. This film is great. I think it's still relatively its own. I don't think it's a ripoff at all. The movies, to me, if you have somewhat the same story beats, it's not flat out a ripoff, Because obviously, slasher movies always kind of have similar beats. A lot of them do. So all around awesome movie. I would advise anybody to watch it. So I'm going to take one more hit. And peace out. Tomorrow, Aliens. So that's going to be fun. And then Friday, Alien 3. Alright, guys. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Fuck WB. Fuck Freddie Prinze Jr. Fuck Hank Azaria. And that's it. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace.